It's fixture release day, which feels a little bit like Christmas. So today we're going to have a little bit of fun looking through Boro'S fixtures for next season, pointing out any particular away days we might be looking to do, any potential tough runs, just the overall start, the Christmas period, the run-in, and try and gauge what kind of fixtures we've got and have a bit of fun with them. So yeah, let's do it. Before I get stuck in, just want to point you guys into the direction of my new TikTok page, which I did mention in the last video, but it is going to be a place where I'm going to be bringing you guys more short form, quick, quirky content throughout the season. I've already done quite a few things on there regarding the Euros, gave an instant reaction to the England 11, instant reaction to last night's game, and I'll be doing much more of that and more with Boro throughout the season. So if you're a fan of Boro, a fan of me covering Boro, and that's what you've subscribed for, then do head over and follow me on TikTok for much more cool, quirky content. So, let's look into the fixtures then, and it is worth noting this is a bit of fun, because there is no context really to any of this other than what happened in past seasons, what the teams look like on paper. A lot of these clubs haven't made signings yet, a lot of these clubs don't even have a manager yet, so your opinion and perception of these teams could change drastically, quite easily and quickly. But we're going to run through it anyway, starting with August. Now, I think it's safe to say, I think Boro have had a generous start to the season here. Now, again, that's me saying that on paper. We'll probably go winless in our first 8 and be bottom like we were last season. But on paper, and I'm going to definitely regret saying this, Boro, but I think we've been given a generous start. I'm happy we're at home on the opening day, just because that means I get to get back in the Riverside as soon as possible, and opening day fixture at home, bouncing atmosphere, can't wait. Plus Swansea are a side who I think are going through a transition, mid-table last season, not too great, not too poor, probably a comfortable opening day. However, Derby away on the second game could be difficult, because it's their first game back in the second tier. They always post 30,000 figures at their ground, well backed, and of course there is quite a bit of beef between Boro and Derby because of recent memory, so I think we might have been one of the teams they'd have picked for their first home game back, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was moved for TV, but this will be, I think, one of our biggest banana skins early on, as they'll be right up for it, and it could be a very tough game for us, but this is definitely one I'm looking to go to. This is on the list for me, which means with my record, we're probably going to lose. Moving on, the rest of the month, Portsmouth at home, I think's a good game for us. I know they're newly promoted and it's easy to say that, but Portsmouth's opening few games are horrid. I feel so sorry for them, but they've got such a tough start, and a trip up to Boro is very much included in that. And Cardiff away is not a game I'm too worried about either. Our record down there at Cardiff isn't too bad, and again, they were just a sort of mid-table side last season, so if we start well, I'd fancy that one too. September ain't too bad either. We've only got 3 games in September. Preston at home is one I'm happy with. Preston have a pretty bad record up here. Then we head to Sunderland in the first Teesweir derby of the season. Very similarly placed to last season, with the away game being in that September-October time, which I missed last season. Hopefully I won't be missing it again this season. We have a pretty good record against Sunderland in recent memory, and they look like a bit of a basket case right now. It's took them over 100 days just to get a manager who was probably their 6th or 7th choice, so I'm not really worried about Sunderland at all at this point. And Stoke at home should be a comfortable fixture because it's Stoke, but they do turn into prime Barcelona whenever they rock up at the Riverside for some reason. But overall, you look at the first 7 games, a lot of them are winnable, and we should be looking to win, especially the home games, which I think are very, very generous. So hopefully we can do the reverse of what we did last season, which was not win any of our first 7 and be bottom. Hopefully we can win the majority of our first 7 and be a little bit close to the top. We then head into October, where it does start getting a little bit tougher and a little bit more busy. West Brom and Watford away are 2 very close together back-to-back away games that will be difficult. I think West Brom away is always tough. They were very good last season under Corberan, and I think they've been taken over now, so I think they'll only go from strength to strength now if they have the ability to buy players. Watford away as well, you'd expect them to be better. Again, we went to Watford away around this time last season, and we actually come out on top, but I think there might be a bit more stability at Watford, so I expect them to be better. That's a tough game for us. And then we've got 2 home games, which again, very close together. I'd expect us to do okay. However, Bristol City, a bit like Stoke, always come up to the Riverside and somehow play well. I don't know what it is, but they love coming up here. And Sheffield United are a bit of an anomaly because some people expect them to bounce back well, others expect them to even get relegated. They are a complete mystery at this moment in time, and there is so much up in the air at Sheffield United. Predicting that game is very, very tough, but we must respect that they're a relegated side, and normally that means it will be quite tough. Following that is Norwich away. That's going to be tough. They were a very good side last season. Intriguing to see how they start under their new manager, but I think just having a brief look at all of the season and the months separated, October certainly seems like that's when the season might start getting tough for us. Into November, busiest month of the season really, barring April, and there are some difficult fixtures in here too. Coventry at home is difficult. We always struggle against Coventry, even at our place, so it'll be intriguing to see how we get on there, and obviously a trip down to QPR is always difficult. Luton at home will prove to be an interesting one too. They've been relegated as well. Expect them to be up there, so that could be a cracker. And then a more generous end, I think Oxford away. It's a very typical Borough game to lose, but we should be expecting a win there. And you could also say the same for Blackburn at home, who are, again, a bit of a mystery. But after the back of last season, we should be beating or expecting to beat Blackburn at home. And Hull are the same. They're another side. And it's a bit of a reoccurring theme here. There are so many clubs with new managers that are starting new, and you just don't know what to expect from them. So if it was a seniors Hull, it might look like a bit of a tougher proposition. But with the new manager in charge, you don't quite know what to expect from Hull. But this is a slightly easier month. Again, some winnable home games in there, although Coventry and Luton will be tough. I'd like to hope we can pick something up away from home. But yeah, looking at that, 6 games in November, 4 of them at home. It's a big month for us to get some points on the board. Then we have December, which is of course a busier period. And this isn't too bad either. Burnley and Leeds away though does stand out as 2 very, very difficult back-to-back away games. I will be looking to go to one of these 2, don't know which. I've been to Leeds a few times, but Burnley's one I've never been to, so I might be intrigued to go to that one in December, but that's a tough pair of fixtures for us. But then we have 2 winnable ones, arguably even 3, with Millwall at home, Plymouth away, which is a long trip in the winter for the Borough fans, which is a little bit of an awkward one. But Boxing Day we're at home, and Borough always perform on Boxing Day in front of our home fans. We always have done. I remember that Nottingham Forest game a couple of seasons ago now. Obviously they went up that season, but we played them off the park. We were outstanding. And I just love Boxing Day at home, sellout crowd, everyone's off work. It's fantastic. So I'm very excited for that game. And of course Sheffield Wednesday's fans are outstanding as well. So they'll make an absolute atmosphere of it. That could be one of the games of the season. But again, one I'd expect us to win. And then Burnley at home, straight afterwards, could be very interesting. Again, probably be a big crowd. A lot of people still off work. Tough atmosphere for them. 2 very big home games very close to each other. And that's a very good period, I think, to pick up a bit of momentum. So again, yeah, tough games in there, but still a lot of very winnable ones as well. Into the new year then, it's, again, not too bad. Hull away on New Year's Day could be difficult, but then we've got Cardiff at home and West Brom, which I'd hope to think, I'd like to think we'd do well at home to them, but a few tough away games because Hull away is always a tough one. Portsmouth away, that could be tough. A long trip, again, in the cold winter months for the Borough fans down to Portsmouth, and Preston away is a bogey ground. And Borough historically always have a bit of a flop once the year turns over and we start anew in January, and I have a fear that this has that sort of flop written all over it. Hull away, Portsmouth away, Preston away. They're 3 away games I'm not particularly liking the look of. Hopefully we can pick up points at home, but historically this is a period where Borough have a bit of a slump, and I can see why a few of them fixtures could suggest that. Into February, my birthday month, well, that's when we've got our reverse game at home to Sunderland, which again will be a good one I look forward to. However, Stoke away, Sheffield United away, 2 grounds where we never really play all that well. The last time I went to Sheffield United, we lost 4-1. I'll never forget that game. Do not look forward to go on there, but obviously under Carrick, a couple of seasons ago, we played them off the park. So who knows what we might get from there. But Stoke away is another bogey ground, as is Ashton Gate. I hate Borough going to Ashton Gate, and there are actually a lot of away trips in this January-February period where we infamously do quite terribly. So that's a bit of a concern. So again, we might be relying on our home form a little bit, but Stoke away, Sheffield United and Bristol City away does strike the fear of God at me, being a Borough fan. So January and February, maybe a bit tough. Maybe that will be our challenge to just sort of get through. March, though, I feel a little bit better. Derby at home, I fancy us. QPR at home and Oxford at home, I fancy us. Even going down to Swansea, I think we should be okay. Luton away is the big one, because this will be the period of the season where we're getting into the run-in and teams might be really starting to fight for things and look towards the finish line. Luton away could be an interesting one, assuming we're both in the playoffs, maybe even higher. That's a big one, and like the last time they were in the Championship, could be quite an important one. And then into April, this is where the run-in really kicks into gear, and it's not bad. There are a number of games in here that I don't like very much. Blackburn away is another one, Ewood Park. Don't like it when Borough go there particularly, and Leeds at home. A bit like this season, we had Leeds at home, and I think we did very well against them. And of course, this period last season, we really got going. So again, it'll be intriguing to see how we get on with Leeds. This season, again, a bit like Luton, I feel like we'll both be fighting for something, so it could be very much a repeat of what we've just had. Millwall away is always tough. The Den will be difficult. I think Plymouth at home could be a bit of a reprieve for us. Away to Hillsborough, I really don't know on Easter Monday, because last time we went there, it was arguably one of the worst games of football ever seen in history. And then you look at the final two games, and they could be ginormous, because you've got Norwich at home, I think will be up there. That could be pivotal, and arguably the worst possible final game of the season, Coventry away. Our ultimate bogey team, who we just cannot beat for the life of us. We were their first home game last season, will be their last home game this season, and I think we'll both be up there. And I'm going to be honest, if there is something riding on Coventry away, I feel absolute fear and no confidence whatsoever that we'll be able to get something. It is possibly the worst away game we could have asked for on the final day, when they'll have a sellout CBS with possibly huge stakes on the line. So that is horrible. But overall, I don't think there's any particularly elongated runs of games that look all that difficult. And of course, again, added context, it's the Championship, every game's difficult, and this is all a bit of a pointless exercise, really, because you just don't know what teams are going to rock up, overachieve or underachieve. But I think on paper, I'm happy with the start. We've got to take advantage of it, because that's, I think, what cost us last season. It does start getting a bit more difficult in October and November, but I don't think they're too bad. The festive period isn't too bad either. It's January, February, where we have a couple of awkward away games that normally we struggle with, and that's the period where we have a slump. So that's another very important period for us, but I can see us picking it back up in March and April, and of course we finished the season brilliantly this year. There's no reason why we couldn't do it again, but I must stress, Norwich at home, Coventry away, oh my god, that could be quite horrible. So we'll see where we are. Long way to go, of course. But if you're a Borough fan, let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on these fixtures. Any away days you're looking forward to, any particular home games you're looking forward to. I think, for me, I'm desperate to break my away day curse this season, and I think Derby away is definitely one I'm going to try and go to. Sunderland away, maybe, although that's naturally a very tough one, of course. And I think around December, Burnley or Leeds are one I'd like to go to as well. Maybe Hull or Preston. Never been to Preston, I've been to Hull before. And then you're looking at maybe Sheffield Wednesday away in the run-in. And you never know, if we've already wrapped up the title, I'll probably go to Coventry as well. But we'll see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit a like on this video, subscribe. We'll be doing lots of Borough content. If you're new, check out the previous content. I cover Borough throughout the season. I do a podcast reviewing Borough games. We discuss all of Borough's new signings, incomings, outgoings. We're going to look to preview games this season as well. Literally, if you're a Borough fan and you're new, I have you covered on everything over on this channel. And we'll also, hopefully, when a few new games drop in the later part of the year, I'll probably do some fun, either FIFA stuff or FM stuff on Borough as well, like we did last season. So subscribe for all of that good stuff. And you want to see more of me discussing Borough with other like-minded awesome Borough fans, do check out the Borough Breakdown podcast if you haven't already, because we will be discussing every game in full throughout the entire season, lowdowns on all of our new signings. It is literally the place to be for all your Borough news. But until next time, guys, do take care. Hope you're excited for the season. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts. And yeah, I can't wait for it to get going. Hopefully it won't be too long now. See you all in the next one.